So it's also to show just what meditation can do, different types of meditation. And so this is kids' meditation for anyone who's a kid at heart. So here we go. So for kids, because sometimes they haven't really got a rational mind, but they've got a very imaginative mind, and that's what I'm going to be employing on this kids' meditation. In 10 or 15 minutes worth, not that long. So first of all, you close your eyes, become aware of your breathing. Well, not your breathing, aware of your body first of all. Just learning how to relax to the max. How are your legs now? Feel your legs with your mind. Just making sure that your feet are nicely positioned. If you're on a chair, you can move them forward, move them back, move them apart, see which is the best position for you. Don't always assume. Your calves. I can feel my calves. Just warm, tingling. No real problem there, but they appreciate me checking them. And my knees. Again, people have lots of knee problems, so I just look at them first of all. Give them some kindness, relax them, until they feel really comfortable. Then to my thighs, huge muscles. And then just relax them all. To the butt, the buttocks, the bottom. And my cushion is not far enough forward, so I'm going to adjust. That's better. And once the buttocks are nice and comfortable, then my back, good stretch, and then relax till things feel good. If they don't feel right, I just keep moving, adjusting. My mindfulness and kindness has patience. And then feel my hands, make sure they're in a good position. Once my hands are well adjusted, then go to my shoulders and relax. Imagining them just loosening. Nothing pulling or pushing or squashing. Just I let them be, and they find their own natural level of comfort. Go to my neck, make sure its head is well balanced. Any irritations of the throat, just relaxing them. Again, if you need to cough, please you have to, so just cough. And then to my face. Relaxing all these muscles in the face. And it's the awareness allows me to know whether I'm relaxing them or I'm making more tense. Because the mindfulness gives me the feedback, the opportunity to know where things are and how they improve. And the whole body just carefully, meticulously, part by part, relax. Now I'm going to do for want of a better word, a kids' meditation. So you can imagine yourself in this body. Hong Kong is quite busy and noisy. So just imagine floating out of your body Just visualizing, going out from this room, through the ceiling and roof, over the island, out into the ocean, floating over and over to your island, a special, peaceful, beautiful island where only you can go. You float over the waves. It's a calm and peaceful day. You can see your little island in the distance. It's a place of safety, of happiness and peace, where you can stay however long you want, come back whenever you need. You're floating and you land gently on the sand, and the sand is warm and soft and comforting. And you lean against a tree and you can just watch the ocean all around you. Just so peaceful, so gentle. There are no ships, nothing to disturb you. A few beautiful fish in the ocean, but mostly calm and peaceful and free. And it's warm, not too hot, not too cold, just your temperature. And you can feel the breeze, the fragrant, scented breeze just blowing over the ocean, past your face, through your hair, as you relax and enjoy the beautiful, calming sensation of the breeze cooling you down. And you look around and there's no other noise, just the sound of the waves. The waves as the water from the ocean comes up the beach and flows back down again. Comes up the beach and flows back down again. And there's nothing for you to do. No one is going to ask you to achieve anything or change anything, because this is your own personal, private little place where you can go whenever you wish to your special island, calm, peaceful and safe. And you relax there and you start to notice that as the waves come up the beach, your breath comes in, and as the waves go out, your breath goes out. So you're breathing in and out, and the ocean seems to breathe with you in harmony, and it's just so effortless, sitting there. There's no one to check on you, no one to test you, no one to tell you you're doing it right or wrong, just you and the beautiful shade of the trees and the warmth and the softness of the sand and the cooling breeze, fragrant, just washing over the ocean and the sand and you. And the sky is blue and cloudless. It's not a harsh, sunny day. There's the warmth, it's as if you've adjusted the temperature to perfection. It's so quiet, and just the waves coming in and the waves going out, just in synchronicity with your breathing. Breath coming in, breath going out. With nothing to do, nothing to achieve, just a place of safety, of peace and rest. Waves coming in, waves going out. Breath coming in and breath coming out. You can imagine how soft is the sand as you push your feet into the soft, warm sand. As the sand just goes through your toes, the spaces between your toes. And it's no bugs, no insects. It's not hard, scratchy sand, but the softest, smoothest, almost like satin is the sand. And you're relaxing there as the wind, the fragrant breeze keeps you cool. There's nothing to be concerned about. It's just your island and no one else's. So peaceful, so free. It's the waves coming in, the waves going out. Breath coming in, the breath going out. Peaceful, nothing to do, just resting, just relaxing on your special life. And soon comes the time to return. So you imagine saying goodbye to your island. We'll be there for you later, but not now. Now you have to come back. So imagine rising up above the island and floating above the ocean, floating effortlessly over to the shore of Hong Kong Island, over the buildings, over the roads, to Hong Kong University, through the ceiling or roof of this great building, and back into your body again. You've returned. But refreshed and at peace, having gone to your special place, safe and only for you. I'll now read on 3 times. How was that? I really got into that, so I was going. So I had to get back quick otherwise. But using some visualization and some positive messages, that's really great for getting into some nice peaceful states. And kids love that. Big kids as well as small kids. Any comments about that before I go through some questions and discussions? Kids meditation? It's like a visualization, but you adapt it. Yeah, you liked it. Okay, great. Okay, let's do some of the questions. Question, will I eventually need less sleep at night when I meditate more often? Yeah, but just don't use meditation as a way of sleeping less so that you can actually do more. You're already doing too much in our life. But yeah, it does make you more efficient. So, why do we sleep at night? It's because we are tired, our brain is exhausted, which is why we sleep. And if you don't use your brain so much, of course, you don't need to rest it so long. So it's true that when I do my own little retreats, I find just the amount of sleep you need just reduces enormously. You don't need to sleep because you're living a very peaceful life. You're not really needing to use your brain. And it's very, very wonderful. But you do it naturally. So I never actually just worry about how long I'm going to sleep at night. You just keep it natural. And the strange thing is, if ever I do have the opportunity, sometimes you don't, but sometimes I feel a bit tired and ask my body, what do you want to do? It says, go to bed. But I've just been sleeping. Go to bed, my body says. You know what? If I can, I don't argue. It's weird. But sometimes, I don't know why my body needs to sleep. But if it really does, then you hit the pillow and you go out almost straight away. And you wake up afterwards and just so refreshed. And for a long time I thought, what's happening here? I really think it must be some sort of virus or flu or something. My body knows, before I know. It says, you need some sleep. And I follow that. And you feel so good afterwards and you don't get sick. That's my theory anyway. Because my body, I think, is much smarter than I am. And so if my body says, sleep, sleep. If you possibly can. If you need some water, you give it some water. And sometimes in my body is, that before I knew whatever was going on, when I was 20, 21, I decided, I was a Buddhist, so I have to go on pilgrimage to India. So I went overland. And I was a vegetarian then, and when I got to Pakistan, I managed to get a vegetarian lunch. And by the time I crossed the border into India, I had diarrhea big time. So it's nice food, but the cleanliness was not that good. So I spent a day in a hotel, just not eating, just relaxing, resting. Had plenty of water to drink. I had this craving for salt. But the first thing I did when I could get out of the bed and trust myself to walk without letting everything go, was to get a bag of salt, and I just crunched and crunched salt. And I didn't know why, and obviously afterwards, when I learned some more about my body and how it works, when you have diarrhea, you do lose a lot of electrolyte. So I had enough water, but I didn't have salt. But my body told me, you need salt. So I ate it. Things like that, you trust your body. It tells you what you need. You know the difference between need and craving. It's not what you want to eat. It's just what the body tells you. This is going to be helpful for you. So a lot of times, especially with resting or exercise, whatever you need to do, ask your body, what do you want? What do you need? And the body is always much wiser than me. How do you reconcile between letting go and learning from past mistakes? You actually never learn from past mistakes. You learn from present moments. Much more than past mistakes. Because when you look at the past, we always add on to the past things which never happened. Our memory is more faithful to what we thought should happen than rather what did happen. Ask any psychologist. This was actually even policemen who interview witnesses after, say, a traffic accident. And it's so well known. You ask any traffic cops here in Hong Kong, they have these witnesses. What colour was the car? There was two cars. One was red, one was black. There was only one car and it was white. Because we actually fill up the gaps in our memory with what should have happened, not what actually did happen. So our past memory is very, very unfaithful to the truth. It's not that we're consciously doing this. It's just what happens. So because of that, past mistakes, leave them alone. It just makes you more negative. Instead, if you're going to learn from the past anyway, learn from past successes. So you've got a relationship. Husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, or boyfriend, boyfriend, girlfriend, girlfriend. And so what happens? You say something wrong. Of all the things you say in a day, one thing wrong, that's what people remember, the mistakes of life. And of course, if you follow that way, you're going to have a terrible relationship. So instead learn from past successes. You have a happy day together, you have a really wonderful time, go out for dinner, really enjoy each other's company. Learn from that. Learn from successes. What works? Because number one, that doesn't destroy your relationship. Number two, you feel much more motivated and you learn far more from successes than you will ever learn from mistakes. And I teach that to businesses. When you have business, you have a product, it doesn't work. You lose money. What happens? Who's to blame? Sack. You know, there was this fellow who, he was giving an interview for a job, and the man said, look, we need someone who take on responsibility. And this guy said, look, just check my previous 5 employers, and you'll find I was a very, very responsible person. You just ask them, when anything ever went wrong, I was the one responsible. I'm a very responsible employee. But instead of thinking about mistakes in the past, because that makes the whole thing get very negative, fault-finding, blaming, lowers morale. No one ever thinks that anything positive. It really just brings down everybody. Instead, when something goes right, celebrate it. Just keep on having a debriefing on why sales went up, why the product actually worked. Debriefing after debriefing after debriefing. When things go wrong, forget about it. Learn from successes, not from mistakes. The next thing is the present moment. Sometimes we cannot let go because we're afraid to know that if you let go, things will definitely go wrong. So what can you do? If you don't let go, of course they go wrong. Why do things keep on going wrong? Because you keep on remembering the past mistakes instead of learning from the present moment. So, how do you let go of the past? Now there's some things in the past which were very unpleasant. So it is, ask any psychologist, it's great to let go of the past. But how do you do it? So it's standard psychology to actually acknowledge the past, bring it up. And one of the best ways of doing that is to write it down on a piece of paper. That's standard. But the Ajahn Brahm method, when I first taught this to a psychology group, actually a group of psychologists in Sydney, they all wrote this down. Now they practice it in their chambers. No acknowledgement, no royalty fees. No. There's a lot of stuff I invented, but you're not in it for the money, you're in it for the helping people. So, write it down on a special piece of paper. The things you've done wrong in the past, or the things which have happened to you which shouldn't have happened. The nasty experiences of your life. Write it down on a piece of toilet paper. And write it down in brown ink. Dark brown ink. Because as you write it down, you understand, you are making a connection between the other thing which goes on toilet paper, which is brown. Now, I think you all know that there is an ecological crisis on our planet, and cutting down so many trees. But even so, how many of you, because of making sure you're environmentally sensitive, how many of you use both sides of the toilet paper? Are you environmental vandals? I mean, not even the head of Greenpeace and the World Wildlife Fund apparently use both sides of the piece of toilet paper. As soon as it's got a tiny bit of brown on, you think the very least, a tiny bit of brown, there's still maybe 80% of the toilet paper is still white. So why don't you just fold it up, put it in your pocket to keep it for next time? save the planet. Of course you don't do that. Even the slightest bit of brown on your sheet of toilet paper and you flush it down the toilet. So even any piece of brown on the toilet paper, you write down the terrible things that have happened to you on a piece of toilet paper in brown ink. The connection is you should not be carrying this around with you. It's a filthy habit to keep all those nasty memories and not let them go. So once you've made that sort of very clear connection, you write it down, toilet paper in brown ink, everything as honest as you can. Look at it. This is yucky stuff. Why am I keeping this? So then you have to do a ceremony. You go to the holy shrine where you spend many hours of your life, and if you actually add the amount of time you actually spend on the loo, it's quite a considerable amount of time in your life. So you go to that throne room, and then before you do anything else, you read it out again, make the connection, and then you do the letting go ceremony. You put that piece of toilet paper with all those bad memories written on it in the place where they belong, in the bowl. And then you do the let it go ceremony. You press the button and you let go of those bad memories where they belong, in the sewer, not in your memory. So, that is a very, but please don't do that in my temple or even in the University of Hong Kong, because otherwise, once all the loos are stuffed up and blocked, they will blame the organisers. But it does actually work, because it makes the idea that there's no need to keep these things. Please let them go. You have a choice. You don't have to carry these things. And you learn much more from the present than you do from the past. And if you want to remember the past, remember the nice memories, not the negative ones. Should I also welcome and be kind to my friends suffering, like family problems and anxiety? How should I respond? I don't want to force them to do something I like. Thank you. Yes. Sometimes, one occasion of many, one which comes to mind, there was a Tibetan nun, Australian, dying of cancer, and I would visit her, counsel her, and then I got a call from her, "Can you please come to the hospice? I'm dying." And I said, "Well, I'll need you in the next 24 hours because I'll be dead in 24 hours. Doctors didn't know, but she knew. It was true. She did die within 24 hours. So I went there, stopped everything, got a lift, which was about an hour and a quarter away. But you can't just barge into somebody's room in a hospice. You check in first of all, and there was this nurse who was a medical equivalent to Margaret Thatcher, who said to me, "Who are you? What do you want?" And said, "I've just come to see this woman, who she's dying." "No, she's not. You can't go and see her just like that. She's given explicit instructions, no visitors today." I said, "But look, she just gave me a call." "I don't care, no visitors, but I've come all this way." And sometimes you think I'm soft. When I really want to stand up for something, I will. So I said, "Look, she told me to come." And this nurse got very angry at me. She was scowling at me. She said, "Come here." So I followed her to the room of this patient. And on the door of the room, written very clearly, absolutely no visitors. She'd written it by herself. And the nurse said, "See?" She didn't do that, but I just did that for a special case. See? And then you know what? I looked more closely, and there was small print at the bottom, another line, and I read it. You know what it said? "Except for Ajahn Brahm." Absolutely no visitors except for Ajahn Brahm. And I shouldn't have done this, but I just couldn't help myself. I looked at that nurse and said, "See?" Oh, she deserved it. But it was pretty mean. Anyway, so I went inside. And she couldn't stop me, obviously. Went inside. And of course, the first thing I saw this person I knew when she was just really, really healthy, but now she was just skin and bones. When someone who's dying of cancer, they just look so sort of like gaunt and weak. And I went in there and I said, well, why did you put that, that notice up there for? Why me? And she told me something, a wonderful little teaching. You're the only person who comes in here and treats me like a person, not like someone who's dying. You don't see my sickness, you see me. Okay, latest jokes. Please tell me the latest jokes. Because what she wanted was to be just, she knew she was dying. She knew that, the prognosis. And she said it was just even more problem to deal with all her friends suffering. Oh, it's terrible to see you like that. Oh, why are you so sick? Look, it's bad enough dealing with my own problems. These other people come in here and I have to counsel them. Do you understand what I'm talking about there? So sometimes, just if you go to see someone who's very sick and dying, other people see their sickness, see their problems. You see the person. It's much bigger than that. Then maybe you might find out that their problems get put in perspective. It's not such an important thing anymore. There are other things which are more important. It's not dying, it's like how we die. It's not living, it's how we live. That's important. So actually that was a very powerful lesson, and she did. So welcome and be kind to my friend's suffering. Welcome and be kind to your friend. Suffering is only part of them. It's much more to them than that. What to do if I'm always tend to be a self-improving freak, control freak. Okay, if that's who you are not seeing the fullness of yourself. That's only part of you. Sometimes you're controlling, but other times you're just so loving. Sometimes that, there was psychopaths. People who just terrible, terrible, terrible crimes. One of the therapies they were doing in Australia, they gave them a puppy each. These were multiple murderers. And they had to train the puppy to actually to be its friend. And it's incredible to see what happened in their lives. These really hardened criminals who seem to have just no empathy for anybody in the whole world. They learned empathy from this tiny, vulnerable puppy who became their friend. It was a wonderful therapy. So, you're a control freak. Get a little kitten or a dog. Don't get a husband. Don't get a wife. You can if you want. But get a nice little cat. If you don't like cats or dogs, or you're not allowed in your apartment. If you're a control freak, get one of these. Put it in your lap when you meditate. People think this is stupid, it's juvenile. I'm a real meditator, not just stupid teddy bears. People like that never get anywhere in meditation. But you put a teddy bear on your lap when you meditate. You think you're a control freak. You're just so soft. Just so uncomplaining. Just so lovely. And people I thought it was just stupid, one of Ajahn Brahm's jokes. But I did this and it works. It softens you. So you're only a control freak because you're afraid. It's fear and measurement. Fear that you may not live up to other people's expectations. Fear that people don't like you, you're not good enough, you're not beautiful enough, you're not strong enough, you're not fat enough, you're not... There's always people judging you, so just accept yourself as you are, don't try and improve. This teddy bear hasn't improved one bit since I last saw it. Have you? Come on, confess. So, a little teddy bear or a rabbit or something which is so lovable. It teaches you so much. You don't need to control. You let go, be peaceful, and find you've got nothing to fear. You don't need to go by worldly ideas of success. As I mentioned the other day, what is success anyway? It's not that success leads to happiness or happiness leads to success. But happiness is success. You're happy inside yourself. You're happy in this moment. You're successful. End of problem. And goodness, it was nice. It's interesting, we've got so many teddy bears in Ajahn Brahm, my meditation retreat centre. And they're all out there in the front at first. And the first day, people, serious meditators, they meditate. And then as soon as I tell them why we use bear meditation, then within a day they're all gone. Everyone takes one. And some of these hardened people, they take a teddy bear and they say, it works. And what's really hard is to get it back from them at the end of the retreat. Can I take it home, please? You recommend us to really let go of all attachment. Should we even let go of attachments of good quality? Thanks. There is a time to let go of attachments. Please don't let go of attachments until you've opened them on your email and find out what it actually says. It's attachments and attachments. So, to know the ones which are good to let go of. As I mentioned already, if you are in the back of a motorbike going through the traffic, please hold on, be attached. There's a time to let go. And this is a wisdom in meditation. When you're meditating, that's when you let go of all attachments. Many as you can. And if you can do that, great meditations. When you go out for meditation, you've got your duties in life. You've got your things you need to do, your responsibilities to your employer, your husband, your wife, your kids, your parents, and do as best you can. You can never be perfect. And if your boss ever criticises you, you're such a lazy worker, you can tell your boss, well, it's your fault, you employed me. What's the difference between cravings and life goals? What is the meaning that why we are born, or why we are born here and now? What is our ultimate goal in life, and how do we achieve it? Our goals in life they kill you. Goals. They stop you enjoying your life. You're so focused on the goal, the target, you just miss, most of what's happening in life. The goals are in the future. Life is here and now. So how many of you, I don't know how old you are, but you think, wow, time has passed so fast. The years have gone by. Why? It's because you haven't been here. Always been somewhere else. Never here. One of the reasons I come to Hong Kong, and you know that there's not many people in Hong Kong. There's not many human beings here at all. Many human goings, very few human beings. People going somewhere. Where are they going? To the cemetery, that's all. That's your goal, your final destination, your final retirement home. You don't need much of a place in Hong Kong. Just 6 foot wide. 6 foot long, 2 foot wide, 1 foot deep. That's the only house you have to invest in, because you're going to be in there much longer than any other apartment. So, life's goals. Craving, is not so bad if you understand what you're craving for. What do you really want? What do you want in life? Now this is, I said this the other night. It was, I forget where now, because I told many stories, but somebody once asked me this question. It was in a interfaith chaplaincy conference. And I get some nice questions, some really hard questions sometimes. So that's why this evening I want some really tough questions, because I enjoy them. Sometimes I mess them up, making mistakes. It doesn't matter. But at least, you get a chance to push things deeper. That's why making mistakes is not to be feared. It's from mistakes we learn, we grow, we go deeper. So anyway, this was when somebody asked me the question. They asked you this question here in Hong Kong. If you're a Buddhist, what's the Buddhist idea of God? It was asked by a devout Christian who was highly intellectual, so much so that he was the person appointed by one of the previous Prime Ministers to head the committee to introduce a human rights addition to the Australian Constitution. So this was a very intellectual heavyweight. So when he asked me a question, I knew, can't have a joke. Had to be something a bit different. So I like that sometimes. So I said, I was with a good friend who was a Benedictine abbot. And I said, because we had a great relationship together with this Benedictine abbot. He lived in one of these oldest monasteries, in Australia. It was so old, a couple of 100 years old. And I asked him, are there any ghosts in this monastery? You know what he said? He said, I'm a Catholic, we don't believe in ghosts. I said, what about the Holy Ghost then? Ha 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 ha, got you out. That's what we did, we just told jokes to one another. So anyways, he laughed at that. But, in our discussions, and I mentioned in public in this question, what is the Buddhist idea of God? And I said to him that this is a friend of mine, the abbot, Benedictine Catholic. We've had so many wonderful discussions, and he keeps on telling me that one of his fundamental beliefs is that everyone is searching for God. Now I could say, no, not us Buddhists, we don't believe in God. But that wouldn't be taking it any further than it already was. So I said, well, my friend always says everyone is searching for God. What do Buddhists search for? What do atheists search for? What are you searching for? What do you want in life? And then you get the ideas of, first of all, respect. People want to be respected, no matter who they are. Whether it's, people with what the society calls mental diseases. They're not diseases, it's just people being different. Whether it's schizophrenia, ADD, autism. Do you really respect people? Because that's what they want more than anything else, to be respected, to be part of life, not being excluded, stigmatized. People who have got limbs missing or who's not as attractive as others. You want to be respected, accepted. People search for love, to be loved and to be able to give love to others. And people, what else? You want peace in life. To find that peace. Laughter, joy, the joy of friendship. People who can share the afternoon together, no particular outcome, instead just to enjoy one another's company. Meaning, joy, peace, love, respect. Meaning, of course, is one of the other questions. But what is the meaning of life? The meaning of life is what you put into life. It's not something out there ready to be discovered. As if meaning is out there for everybody. Now I've found the meaning of life. It's what you give to life. You make meaning. And so that's what all the people I've known, Buddhists, atheists, Catholics, Muslims, that's what they're searching for. So that must be what God is. And I thought that was a really cool answer, just thinking on the spot. And what it did, it took things deeper and created some peace and harmony, and took down many barriers, walls between people in our world. Not just people with religion or no religion. People who had a different sexual orientation. People who are stigmatized by being different because of what we describe as mental illness or even physical disability. They were accepted. So I thought it was a great answer. So that's the difference between craving and life goals. Life goals is always changing things. So real goals is peace, kindness, respect, to love and be loved, to be forgiven. And the beauty, that's part of love, is forgiveness. And that's what we're here to learn. So easy, it doesn't cost anything. Except courage. What is love and what is relationship? Is it an attachment? Yes and no, because this story, probably heard it before, but here it comes again, is when I do marriage blessings. I've already done a same-sex marriage blessing, by the way, so that was very nice to be able to do one of those, not sort of discriminating. So anyway, when I do that blessing service, I look in the, I think this is the third time I said it on this trip, look in the eyes of the bride and tell her, now you're a married woman, you must not think of yourself. She nods. And then look at the guy. I don't know if it's the same in Hong Kong, but certainly in Australia. Look at the guy and say, now you're a married man, you must not think of yourself either. And he always pauses to think it over first. Honestly, he does. And then he agrees in the end, okay, I mustn't think of myself. I'm married now. Then look at him, and now from this moment on you must not think of your wife. And then look at the wife. From this time on, you're a married woman now, you must not think of him. And there's this beautiful pause when people are trying to figure out what this means. And then, of course, give them the answer. It's like a riddle. It's amazing that when you say things which people don't understand at first, they pay full attention, like you are doing now. And then the answer is, once you're married, you must not think of yourself, nor must you ever think of your partner. You must only think of us. Us. It's not me, it's not her or him. A marriage, a relationship is about us. You're in it together. Any problem, whose problem is it? Our problem, yeah. We live in a big world. We can't escape from one another. So, problems of the world are our problems. So we don't blame other people, it's ours. So, in an attachment, yes, if you don't take that love to the next level. I always say that my father's story, he taught me about love. When he took me aside, 13 years of age, I still remember the road, Churchfield Road in Acton. And it was actually an old Cortina car. I don't know if you remember those old cars, green. I haven't got an amazing memory, it's just certain events in your life really stick out, you never forget them. And he turned around to me and said, son, I want to tell you something important. It doesn't matter how you turn out in life, what you become, the door of my house will always be open to you. I just want to say that to you. I knew it was important. I never knew how much. Because a boy is not really strong on emotional intelligence. 13 years of age, just growing up. But it was important enough that I remembered that. And when I became a monk, more time to grow, understand, not be afraid of your emotions, but investigate them. And that's when I realised he didn't mean the door of his house. It was a small council flat. What he meant was his way of saying the door of my heart is open to you. No matter what you ever do in your life, I will never be ashamed of you. Good, bad, whatever you do, you're my son. That's enough. I never shut you out of my heart. Phew, that meant so much to me. And I've been practicing that for so many years with each one of you. It doesn't matter what you do. You can throw things at me. That was the most stupid talk I've ever heard in my life. It doesn't matter, you're my friends. The door of my heart will always be open to you. It's a big heart, plenty of room. And I did that to myself. Each one of you one day will have to do that to yourself when you feel safe enough. To say to yourself, me, this person, wherever I go, there I am. Sometimes I'm ashamed of myself, done some really terrible things. Sometimes not live up to my expectations. You say to yourself, me, the door of my heart is open to me. Come in. I'm not the best, but good enough. And that's a cathartic moment in your life. And that's if you're married to somebody. This is the person you spend the nights with, sleep next to, live with. Please, take that love to that level. Husband, wife, partner. The door of my heart will always be open to you. I won't always agree with you. I'll argue like hell with you sometimes. But, you're my partner. I will never shut you out of my heart. You're there and that's it. Now, what that also means, there comes a time when your partner, your loved one, could be a father, a mother, a child, dies. And you say to them, the person I love the most in this world, the door of my heart is open to you, no matter what you ever do. Even if you die, my love is so great, I can let you go. The greatest act of love is to let someone go, someone you love so much. And you never feel sad, because you've had a wonderful time together, and those memories never leave you. And you've done the wonderful act of letting go. That's why real love is never attachment. Enjoying the wonderful time we spent together. When the time is up, go with my blessing. I love you so much, I let you go. It's beautiful when that happens. Anecdotes. Jenny and Steve. Jenny was Australian nurse. Steve is really healthy, fit American, whitewater rafter. They got married. Never had any children, but they had this idyllic lifestyle. They went to some of the most beautiful places in the world, whitewater rafting, taking other tourists there, charging them, that was how they paid their bills, charging them to do just what they loved doing. And so that beautiful lifestyle, really deeply in love. And it was only about in his early 30s he had cancer. And there's nothing he could do about it. It was just, he was dying. And because, that they were disciples, and go and meet them, and counsel them. And I went into their apartment one day, and again, really gaunt, weak, and he wasn't dying. And he was obviously in great distress and pain. But, what was happening here? So, you just make your mind peaceful, and it became quite obvious. I asked Jenny, have you given Steve permission to die yet? Simple thing. Have you given him permission to die? And she got it straight away. She never spoke to me. She jumped on the bed. One of these other beautiful memories I will never forget. Just so gently, softly, put her hands around the man he loved so much. She loved so much. Steve, you can go. You can die. I give you permission. I love you so much. I'll let you go. It was beautiful. That night he passed away. And of course I did the funeral ceremony for them. Because it was a whitewater rafter, I knew sort of the rules because I'd done many funerals. And so you could make your own coffin. So custom made. So they made it in the shape of a boat, like a raft with some paddles on the top. It was exactly the right size, but the problem was it was made out of very heavy jarrah, so it was really heavy. So when they did the funeral ceremony, they put it on this little conveyor, and they put it down there. And the idea was, when it was the right time, you press the button, and then the door would open, and the coffin would go through, and then the door would close afterwards. But in this case, the casket was so heavy, the motor was struggling actually to pull the conveyor. And so, by the time the door opened, by the time the door closed, the coffin hadn't gone fully through. And it slammed against it and got stuck. It was half in and half out. And Jenny, the loving wife, just jumped on the conveyor belt and tried to push it through. And the friend said, "Are you trying to get rid of him that quickly?" But then one of the other friends said, "Oh, that's typical of Steve." Because he remembered, growing up with Steve, the first time he had a car, he crashed it on the first day. The first day in his coffin, he crashes that as well. Typical. Oh, that was just a wonderful funeral service. Because it was all about love and letting go. So that is what the love is. There's an attachment for a while, but it's not real attachment. You have to let them go. And that's one of the beautiful acts. You've had a wonderful life together. Thank you so much. You go with my love. And of course, what never is taken away from you is a wonderful time you share together. That's real love. You know how much I love my dad, my father. Always say anecdotes of him. 50 years ago, he passed away. 50 years in May, I think. Anyway, more than 50 years. 50 years last May. And never cry about him. Just there was beautiful warmth. Spent a wonderful time together. The concert singing, I told that the other night. Just great time. Thank you so much for being my dad. You go with my blessing. And of course, he never leaves. All those memories, that love always stays. That's what love is. Not attachment. There's something much better than that. Anyway, what skill for catering daily things and worries coming up to my mind during meditating? Welcome them. Thank you for coming. That's the monster. Welcome the monster. Then the monster shrieks. It's no problem anymore. Just want to confirm that it's okay to fall asleep during meditation. It's okay to go asleep, but don't fall, otherwise you'll fall. If you think you're going to go to sleep, then get a seatbelt on your chair for when you're meditating. Of course it is. The reason is because most people have sleep deficit. They're tired. So if you need to sleep, just sleep. You feel much better afterwards. How can we prepare ourselves and the ones we love over our death, the fear of suffering? Okay, begin with, I've already said about the fear. The main suffering of death is just me, I don't want to leave you. You're my loved one. Dad, don't go. I love you so much. I'll miss you. What are you doing to your poor father? Now it's time for him to go. Let him go with your blessing. And he will give you his blessing as well. Thank you, daughter. Thank you, son. You're doing your very best with a wonderful time together. Thank you so much. And the death becomes this beautiful ending. No tears, no need for tears. But this beautiful act of love, letting each other go. As for the suffering and the pain, a lot of that is just, I don't want to suffer. How long is this going to last? I was suffering in hospital with typhus fever many years ago. First year as a monk. And just, that was when my teacher, Ajahn Brahm, came to see me. Came to see me. This was a big monk, and I was only first year as a monk. It was like sort of, the vice chancellor of the university coming to see the cleaner in hospital. I said, wow, he's come to see me. And I was just so lifted up, the honour of a great monk coming to see me. Wow. And you know what he said to me? He looked at me in the eyes and said, Ajahn Brahm, it actually wasn't Ajahn there, Brahma Wangsa, you're either going to get better or you're going to die. And then he left. That's all he said. Honestly, that's what he said. No, it's not what I expected. It's not what I wanted, but my goodness, it's what I needed. He was right. There's only two choices you have. You're not going to suffer forever. You're either going to get better or you're going to die. That's it. So, his wisdom was unimpeachable, but I wish his bedside manner had been improved. So anyway, if you see your father or mother and they're in hospital, just do that. Just tell them, Mum, you're either going to get better. Don't do that. But anyway, it doesn't last. In life, should we be determined, work hard to reach our own goal, or should we let it go? Go with the flow without putting in efforts. How to strike a balance when in the point that enough effort, so just go with the flow, let it go. For example, when we try to solve a family conflict, cure a long-term sickness, or find a partner. Look, if you want to find a partner in life, so many people, lower your standards. It's obvious. Too many people. Look, so you usually find out someone who's like you. Look in the mirror. And then get someone who's like you. Then there's plenty of people like you. So lower your standards and then just, it's obviously, actually it's much easier to love someone who's imperfect, with their faults and failings. It's harder work, but it's, in a sense, it's more meaningful. Because they reflect you. Yeah, you're not perfect, they're not perfect. So you match. So, and what is a relationship anyway? Just learning to accept each other, to open the door of your heart to one another, to learn from one another. So this is a beautiful way of just finding a relationship, but don't try to make it perfect. You never find anybody like that. That's why I say in Chinese culture especially, tell your young teenagers, if she's a girl, tell her never ever marry a rich guy. Marry someone who's poor. Because if you marry a rich man, he's going to get a mistress. If he's poor, he can't afford a mistress. So you're safe. You can go out to a retreat, go overseas or whatever. You know he's perfectly safe when he goes overseas because he can't afford anybody. So, happy marriage, always marry a poor guy. And if you're a guy, never ever marry a beautiful girl, one who's drop dead gorgeous, because other guys will look at her and you get a bit jealous. You never know when you go on a business trip overseas, what she's up to. But if you marry an ugly girl, you're safe. And she'll be so happy that, you've married her. So that's the secret of a happy marriage. Guys, marry ugly girls. Girls, marry poor boys. Simple. So any of you haven't got a partner, it's because you're too beautiful. Don't go to beauty party, go to ugly party. Those guys who are too wealthy, they haven't got a partner in life, you can give all your extra money to the Buddhist, to the donation box. But that's solving to let it go. If there's something you can do it. But most of the time, there's nothing we can do. We make it worse. So there comes a time that we love a person. We love life. There's a time to do some change and work hard. We all know how to work hard. But sometimes we don't know how to let things be. That's why I keep focusing on letting things be. That will be the last question because it's almost 4 o'clock. What do you think of using mantras or affirmations in meditation? It helps the mind to calm down, but are we accepting ourselves as we are, implanting words and images? No, mantras work okay. In Thailand I was always taught Buddho, Buddho with the breath. Breathing in, Bud, breathing out, Tho, Buddho, Buddho. Because in Thailand that word meant something, it had an emotional power to it. But when I went to Australia, saying Buddho with the breath never worked at all. So instead, first thing I tried, this Australians meditating. As you breathe in, say the word shut. As you breathe out, up. Shut, up. Shut, up. And that was actually quite effective, but that didn't work. But then they had another one, which was was very effective, and I still do this. It came from a Thai word. As you breathe in, die, out, nair, die, nair, die, nair, die, nair. Which in English, it means as you breathe in, I will die, that's for sure. I will die. It's very helpful, especially in Malaysia and Indonesia. Got lots of people in Indonesia follow me. And that was mati pasti. Mati pasti. I will die, that's for sure. And the people were doing that, especially with the walking meditation. And first of all, they thought it was a joke. Oh no, that's for sure. Yeah. But then, of course, there's a truth that you can't deny. I will die, that's for sure. And once they realised it was truthful, they got afraid. They kept on going. I will die. Once they got through the fear, you get this wonderful sense of perspective in life. Why are you worrying about these stupid arguments you have with your family? These silly things about people being cheated or not cheated. I will die, that's for sure. You get rid of a lot of attachments. You feel so peaceful, I will die, that's for sure. Why am I worrying about all these goals? Who gets the best sales targets? And who gets the biggest house? I will die, that's for sure. It brings incredible peace. So that's a very good one. But the one which I've been doing the most, haven't mentioned here, because not enough time, there's so many stuff to say about meditation, was as you breathe in peace. Breathe out, let go. Breathe in peace. Breathe out, let go. That's meaningful mantras. But you don't just say peace, you feel it, you imagine it, you paint a picture about it. For you, peace means like a white dove, fine. Just imagine a white dove coming into your body. And let go. You can imagine like a vehicle, it can be like Hong Kong, like a boat, a tug, taking out what you want to let go of. All the negativity, the pain, the sickness, the worry. With every out-breath you let go of something. And you imagine it leaving your body, your mind as you breathe out. Breathe out, let go. Breathe in. If you're sick, you breathe in health, energy, peace. Custom make your mantra. But don't just say the word, feel its meaning. So breathing in peace, breathing in health, say. Breathing in health. Can you imagine what health is? Now just build a picture about it. Feel it, not just say it. Breathe in health. Breathe out sickness. Breathe in peace. Breathe out sickness. Whatever it is. And keep on doing that. And after a while it really works. The mind has its power. So that's a way of doing mantras. Great, but don't just follow a book. Make your own. Custom make it. Far more effective. Okay. So, all these questions, I'm terribly sorry, but your karma was not good enough for this lifetime. So anyway, all questions, there's no end to questions, but there is always an end to the time we have. So, hopefully it was useful for you. So, are we going to just wind up or say anything? Okay, who's going to say anything or nothing? Okay, so all the best to you all. And you're going to say something? Come on, okay. So thanks for coming along. There's also many other events which I'm supposed to be doing this evening. Hard Talk at BDC, not BBC Hard Talk, BDC Hard Talk. Buddhist, Dhamma, whatever is that. Where is that?
The Buddha Dhamma Center on Hill Street. If you need the address, please visit our website. We start at 6 p.m. tonight and it will end at 7:30. So lots of hard questions.
Yeah.
You'll be asking. So please come if you have time.
Yeah, what else is there going on? What are we doing tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow is a retreat.
Yes, tomorrow we start before the retreat.
Okay, and after that, is there anything else?
After that, we have 2 more talks. One at the Vocational Training Council, and the last one will be held at the Chinese University.
Okay, very good. Okay, excellent. Thank you all for coming. There is a donation box outside. It's not for me, so don't give me sort of lychee or pounds, because it's all used. You all know that I was famous or infamous in some circles for giving ordination to women in Theravada, bhikkhunis. So we're building a bhikkhuni monastery in UK. The reason is because some years ago when I went there, these things which I will always remember, they came out to me and said, Theravada Buddhism is dark for women in England. There wasn't any opportunity for people to get full ordination in Theravada. So they said that, I'll do something about it. I've got a beautiful nun starting off there, but needs a place to stay. So any spare cash, we accept IOUs. That's in the donation box. So at least you know where it goes to. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. Sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu. Very good. Okay, see you again.
So if any one of you would like to make donations to